Hey guys, how's everyone? I know it's a tough one after lunch to stay awake. I've done many of these conferences and these talks after, so I'm going to keep it very simple. It's going to be the least technical presentation you're going to get all day, and I'm going to just tell you a lot about the personal story of why we're building KAST and why it's so important for the whole world. So, the opening statement, I guess, which most people in crypto will agree with, is that banking is fucked. And everyone in crypto knows this to be true because everyone has challenges interacting with banks. They get their money frozen. It's hard to move money around. But I want to talk through the different sides of how we see banking as fucked, because it really depends on which country you come from and a little bit about the experiences that I've seen through my life, including being back here in Turkey as well. To do this, I'm going to embarrass myself a little bit, and I'm going to show you a photo of me as a kid, as a baby. And I'm showing you this for a very important reason. I was born in the north of Sri Lanka, in a place called Jaffna. And what happened was that 3 years after I was born, there was a civil war in Sri Lanka. It went on for 26 years. And the civil war finished maybe 15 years ago, but the area is still undergoing a path towards recovery, right? Now, I personally was very lucky because 3 years after the civil war started, my parents migrated to Australia, right? And so personally, I went from a country that was going in deep strife to one of the greatest, most blessed countries in the world, frankly. A great economy, extremely fair democracy. So I got very lucky, right? Subsequently, I've traveled to 100 plus countries. I've lived in approximately 10 different countries, in developing countries and developed countries. For the last 10 plus 12 years, I've lived in Singapore. So the experience that I had personally recently has that banking is kind of okay. It's not totally fucked. It is still sometimes a little bit fucked. You still have the issues with customer service. You still get the issues when you move money to your crypto account, it gets frozen. But it's not totally fucked. But I think about what my life would have been like if I wasn't lucky to move. If I got stuck like the majority of people in the population in a war zone for an extended period of time. The guy who you see here is me, and I've been very lucky to live in countries where I've been afforded opportunities. But my life could have been very different if I stayed in Sri Lanka. And I think when I'm building KAST, how could the person, if they stayed in Sri Lanka, have the greatest opportunities possible, right? How could that person be afforded opportunities to come up in life and have economic certainty? Now, there was a beautiful thing created about 30 years ago, and that was the internet. And that's what essentially has leveled over the course of the last 30 years through different changes, has leveled the world. So now it still matters a little bit where you're born, but it matters a little bit less because you can become a developer, you can provide services through a platform to people on other sides of the world, you can create things, you can learn things. I don't have to tell you how great the internet is. But the problem is that when you move from the internet to financial services, it's not global. It's very much country by country. And I know I'm speaking to people from different parts of the world here today who will have different experiences. For me, being back in Turkey, I actually came here 18 years ago and spent New Year's Eve here. And I'll tell you a story that people in Turkey will know this. When I came here, the lira was 1 million to 1. To the US dollar. And then subsequently, they reset it from 1 million to 1 to 1 to 1, right? That was 18 years ago. And today, it's roughly 38 to 1. So imagine the currency depreciation they felt. I was in Argentina a few weeks ago. When I was on holiday, when I was 21, Argentina had 1 to 1 to the US dollar. It just defaulted, it had gone to 3 to 1. And now it's 1,200 to 1, right? I lived in Nigeria for a couple of years when I was younger. They also have faced very, very similar problems. So the problem of banking is universal And the problem that people face is that you don't get born, you get born and you can be on the internet, but your access to financial services varies greatly. And our mission at KAST is to level this. So everyone has access to a stablecoin powered platform in as many countries as possible. Now, we haven't been perfect. We've got to about 150 countries. We're still working our way through. We've had some people who've come and asked us, how come you don't have our country? The thing is that we're working against everything that financial services and countries have put up over hundreds of years to make it really, really difficult to do banking. And so it's with that backdrop and that real core mission that I and the team have is to make financial services available evenly to everyone in the world. Now, let me explain what KAST is. Most people know us for the card because the simplest thing that you have is that a lot of people have stablecoins, USDC and USDT. I previously ran Circle's business for Asia for 2.5 years, which makes USDC. But what we're trying to achieve is something, actually our whole platform, compared to everything else you'll hear, is extremely simple to the user, but as I say, ridiculously complex for us, right? And so what we're trying to achieve is that you can sign up and KYC in 3 minutes, and you'll have the very, very simple things, which is you have a cash account, which you can deposit stable coins. You will have a card, a Visa card that you can use, and it works almost seamlessly and perfectly. And by the way, achieving that is extremely difficult for a whole bunch of reasons I won't get into, but you'll have a lot of card options out there for crypto. I guarantee you ours will be one of the most smoothest to work with. And also a savings account where you can save and earn interest as well. But this is what most people, if you've used KAST today, would have used so far. Where we're going is something that we call better than a bank. It's not enough for me to go and build a bank on-chain that's available to people in 170 or 180 countries. I and the team have to build something that's better than a bank. So how do you build something that's better than a bank? And I'm going to tell you what version 2 of KAST looks like now. So at the very simple part of it is that you'd have what some people call cash or a check account, a savings, and a card, which already is a huge unlock for hundreds of millions or billions of people in the world who just want a stable US dollar account where they can just do these 3 extremely simple functions. And so we spend a lot of time and money, tens of millions of dollars, literally putting together all the work so that this will work in as many countries as possible. But then we have this very simple concept of deposit and spend. And what we're going to have is the ability for you to have virtual accounts. We have it available now, so you can have an account in US dollars where you can send cash. And you just see that you're sending cash, or you can send cash the other way. Now it gets changed and held as stable coins with us, but you don't know, you just see US dollars. So now you have the access to a US dollar cash account as well. You also have stable coins. We accept multiple stable coins across multiple chains. We don't give you any of that complexity. When it lands, you just see US dollars. We do all the hard work, so you can swap from USDC on Sol to USDT on Tron. I hope personally you keep it on Sol, but we understand that people have to swap and they have to move it. We're also introducing things like QR Pay, so that in a lot of countries you have local QR code payment methods as well. And so you'll be able to use it. I think we're introducing in Brazil and then hopefully more countries as well. You won't get this in your bank. You won't get in your bank the ability to go to a foreign country and be able to QR code pay, let alone in lots of countries around the world. And then we're also introducing payment links. Now, payment links for people who are remote workers is magical. You can send a link. Today already, you can do it to about 40 countries. Our aim is to get it to above 100 countries pretty soon. You can send a link to someone, and they can transfer money locally by bank account, or they can pay with their card, and the money lands in your account, just like magic, right? And then also, because a lot of people hold BTC, ETH, and Sol, the ability to deposit BTC, ETH, and Sol, and spend it or hold it and borrow against it, because a lot of people in crypto want to hold. So this proposition is not complex. It's not intentionally meant to be extremely simple for the user, but for us to perfect this and say we're not going to do anything else, we're not going to do meme coins, we're not going to do trading, we're not going to do all this other stuff, is very, very hard, especially to make it available to as many countries in the world. No one has achieved this vision of being better than a bank, where you're fully connected with all of the virtual accounts where you can interact with banks all over the world. No one has achieved that, and this is what we're investing a lot of time into doing. Now, the slides are slightly wrong order, so I'm going to go through it. Now, if you look at the thesis around stablecoins, they're around $250 billion today. People think in about 3 years there'll be $1 trillion. So stablecoins are about 1% of US dollars today. In 3 to 5 years, they will be about 5%. And by the year 2030. And by the year 2040, if they keep going the way that we think it will, they'll be around 25%. What I showed you earlier was essentially a hybrid world where you have to exist between crypto and the real world in terms of cash. And that's true for almost anyone. I barely know no one who is completely unlinked from the banking world. But that is a hybrid world that will exist for the next 5 years, and over time, it's going to change. It's going to change so that you can actually live mostly on-chain, right? Now, my worldview of this is I always love, I'm a big space fan. I always love looking at photos from space as to what the Earth looks like, right? And so, can you tell me what you notice when you look at the Earth from space? It's the most obvious thing. When you go and look at the Earth from space, you couldn't tell me where a border is, or what country that is, or where it lies, or what currency they use, or what economy they're in. It doesn't fucking matter. It's one world. And that's the beauty of crypto, is that it levels the playing field for the entire world so that anyone can join. Now, all this plumbing that we're doing today so that we can offer credit cards to people in certain countries, and we can provide on and off ramps to people in other countries, and I've got to ask you about your passport and where you're from and all these other questions. We have to do it for our app so that we can achieve something that's very simple and usable for you guys. But in the future, and that future is coming, you won't have to do that. And the way that we're thinking about it is that we want to build the first proper on-chain bank. And so what I want to tell you about quickly is that we are going to be releasing in about 3 months' time what we're calling KAST. It's very simple. It's essentially like a self-custodial stablecoin wallet. But it's more about what it doesn't do. You're not going to get meme coins. You're not going to get dApps. You're just going to be able to deposit stablecoins, multiple stablecoins on multiple chains, and you're going to see US dollars in your self-custodial app. And you'll be also able to send stablecoins on multiple chains out. So it would become the best swap service that you will ever want for your stablecoins. You want to hold all of your stablecoins there because there's going to be no place cheaper. It's only going to be between 0 to 0.1% for the swap. So it's going to be magical and beautiful in that way. It's going to be self-custodial, so you own the assets. You can see exactly the coins that you have on there. And then we're going to add things like instant pay, so you can QR code someone at their phone and you can send them money straight away. If they don't have the app, or you can send it by a phone contact as well. And so you just have to look up a person's name. If you're a restaurant, you owe them money, you send them money. If they don't have the wallet, they just quickly go and download the app. They don't have the KYC, and then instantly they have the money there. And we think this is the beginning of a revolution that's going to change in banking. We're also going to add, after we perfect this user experience, so it's extremely deadly simple, we're going to add products on there that people are searching for. So low to high risk reward yield, things like Aave rate, USDE, and other things maybe from Huma Finance and others as well. And then, when I think about me, if I was that boy that I showed you earlier, and I was in Sri Lanka, there's a lot of things that I wouldn't have access to. Like if I want to trade stocks in the US, it would be very hard for me to trade it for a whole bunch of reasons, barriers that are put between me and trading stocks. And we believe that definitely Solana is the place for internet capital markets. And so essentially this KAST platform is going to become the place where you can trade a lot of real world things like stocks. You'll be able to have access to stablecoins from other currencies which are yield bearing. And we're rethinking the experience so it looks and feels a lot more like a bank, but completely on chain. Once we master that, because there's demand for the self-custodial app, we will add things like a card and your on and off ramp network as well. But this is the future of what the world is going to look like. After the year 2030, my bet is the majority of us will have a full on-chain bank that we use, and we hope it's going to be the KAST app. With that, that's all I got for today. Thank you.